Kayser. Morgan is excellent at discerning good witches from bad witches, locating the beginning of the yellow brick road and telling you that you could have gone home the whole time because the power is in your heart or something like that. Also, she writes things. Morgan Kayser.
I brought that up specifically for that. It was kind of lame. I was excited about it. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So this is a story I was having a lot of fun with before I had to write a novel, which is not fun. All you novelists in the room, I don't know how you do it. It was nice to get back to it. It's just something fun. The Craigslist ad was simple. Customer service agents needed, brief travel required, some overnight shifts, uniform provided, great benefits in a modern Silicon Valley-style workplace. Tom appreciated its straightforwardness, found it refreshing compared to the pages of applications for companies that would never call him back. He'd sent a resume immediately and been called for an interview the very next day. So on a rainy October afternoon, dressed in a too small suit from high school Model UN and a tie that had gone to a Clark Kent costume, he found himself on the bad side of his Rust Belt town. This was where the old steel mills were. Most everything was boarded up now. The building whose address matched the one he'd scribbled down was old, and the black soot of industrialization coated the finials at the roofline and the cracks between the beige stone blocks. The giant steel doors, brown with age and exposure, seemed to creak open before he touched them. He took a deep breath and walked into a large atrium, bright and modern with all-white furnishings. "You must be Tom! So glad you're here!" A blonde woman in black robes, ragged and old-fashioned compared to the contemporary style all around them, strode towards him. Each time she took a step, he caught a brief glimpse of her pink pumps. "I'm Anne," she said, then shook his hand with more strength than any man he'd ever met, smiling the whole time. "Tom, are you excited for your first day?" Her smile was in exactly the same position as before, painted on her face like a Barbie. He wasn't quite sure she was even blinking. "I thought this was just an interview." "Oh, well, you know, everything seemed to be in order, and you just look so nice. Why don't you follow me?" Tom nodded. He needed a job, after all, and followed her up a staircase lined with Where's Waldo posters and framed copies of those hidden illusion pictures they keep in dentists' offices. Upstairs, in a smaller but still bright and modern room, rows of men and women in black robes identical to Anne's sat at computer desks, typing away. In an urn next to the front door, the kind that usually held umbrellas, there was a tight bundle of scythes like a morbid bouquet. "So, what exactly is this job?" Tom asked. He wondered if it was a costume company, a Halloween horror house maybe? He'd seen an ad for one on TV. "This is the Grim Reaper headquarters." Tom laughed. The Reapers looked up from their computers in unison, then snapped their heads back down to their work. One got up, grabbed a scythe from this door, tapped it on the ground once, and vanished, like a magic trick, or real magic. Tom felt nauseous. "So you want me to... You'll be a Reaper." Tom had started to say that he didn't want to be a Reaper, but he needed a job. Those student loans, that credit card debt, he needed help. So he said, "I don't know how to be a Reaper." "Well, that's what I'm here for, silly." Anne clapped her hands. He half expected glitter to fly out of them, like when you slam two chalkboard erasers against each other and chalk dust flies out. "Each shift, you'll come in and get an assignment. That's what the Reapers are doing at the computers, getting their assignments and their paperwork. We'll keep it simple for you for the first few weeks, just one person a shift. But after a while, we'll bump you up. I was doing 4 an hour before I got promoted to management." Another Reaper came to the door, grabbed a scythe, and vanished. "And how do I find the person once you tell me who it is?" "It'll just take you there. Poof." When she said poof, she smiled wider. He hadn't thought it possible, and did jazz hands. "Great. And once you get there, you'll just follow the script. Why don't you try it out?" She handed him a piece of paper. Her nails were pink and sparkly. They looked sharp, like talons. "Hello, insert name here," he started. Obviously, you'll insert their name there. "I am the Grim Reaper." He paused. "Wait, I don't say my name or anything, like on customer service hotlines? 'Hi, my name is Tom. How can I help you?'" No, you don't want any personal connection or questions. You're not really trying to help them at all, per se. You're just trying to get them through the process as quickly as possible. Great, okay, I'll start again. Hello, insert name here. I am the Grim Reaper. You have died of insert cause here. Do not be afraid. I will escort you to the after. Tom looked up, expecting Anne to frown, to criticize the script, to say something. The words seemed too short, too unfeeling, the do not be afraid, almost like a taunt. Wonderful, just perfect, Anne said, clapping her hands. So I read this thing and then take them, well, where exactly? What's the after? Back here. Anne crossed the conference room and stepped in front of a small door in the back. He would have guessed it was a supply closet. She turned to him, smiled, then opened it. Suddenly, a howling, screaming sound filled the room, like a train that's put on the brakes while going full speed. Tom looked through the door to see a swirling black vortex. Anne slammed the door shut. None of the Reapers had even looked up. There, you just chuck them in there. And what happens? Poof! She did the jazz hands again. But where do they go? Into the portal. More jazz hands. Yeah, but I mean, where does that go? Don't you worry about that, she said, smiling. Not quite your jurisdiction. Just think of it like a poof. Easy peasy. There, behind a crappy little door in a crappy little town, sat the answer to everything he'd ever learned in philosophy, all the ideas humanity had been obsessed with since the beginning of time, and all she could say was poof. He stared at her, unable to find words. Well, that's it for me. If you don't have any questions, we'll just go ahead and get you started. That's my only training. I find people learn best by doing. She winked. You ready? Tom nodded. The first Reaper who'd left was already back, holding a wriggling teenage boy in his hands. Hey man, stop, I don't want to. With a push from the Reaper, the boy tumbled into the portal. If he screamed, Tom couldn't hear it over the portal's own awful screaming. Tom stopped nodding. Tom gulped. Your first assignment is Kayla Kaminsky. Before she even finished saying the words, the sounds of the conference room began to fade. Tom felt a little dizzy. Tom thought he might throw up. Everything got blurry. He shut his eyes.